Now we come to the last video on random walks. Of course, we still have a long way to go as far as stochastic processes are concerned, but for random walks, this is the fourth video in that in that under the sub group on a random walk. This the collection of videos on random walk. So here we look at random walk applications. So we see some practical applications of random walk in physics, in gambling, and in finance. So question again, just to refresh our memories, what is a random walk? We know that a random walk is a mathematical process describing a path formed by successive random steps. So either going left or going right or going left. Where going left, okay, I mean we have that here. For a 1D1 random walk, at each step, you can move +1 with probability P, and you can move -1 with probability 1 minus P. Moving +1 is like going right, and moving -1 is like going left. And you have key probabilities, key properties rather. You have the expected value, which is the expectation of xn, which is equal to n into 2p minus 1. And the variance of xn is 4np into 1 minus p. For a fair walk, that is, a fair walk is a walk in which the probability of moving +1 or -1 is the same. That's 0.5. So in that case now, the mean is 0 because if p is 0.5, 2 times 0.5 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, 0 times n is 0. And then the variance is also n here because p now is 0.5. So you have 1 minus 0.5, that's 0.5, right? Times, so if you 4 times 0.5 is 2. So by the time you multiply everything out, all you just have is n because everything goes out there. Then standard deviation is square roots of n. So what we call if a fair walk is actually what we call a simple symmetric random walk. So what we call a fair walk, you already know that a random walk xn is defined as +1 with probability p equals with probability p, okay, with probability p, and then you have -1 with probability 1 minus p. So a fair walk means there's equal possibility of going both ways. So that means P is equal to 1 minus P. And in that case, now that means you can collect like times P plus P equals 1. That means 2P is equal to 1. If you divide through by 2, you have 2P over 2 equals 1 over 2. So 2 cancels and you have P equals 1 over 2. So the probability that you can go both ways at any point in time is 1 all over 2. So that's why which is 0.5, right? That's 0.5. That's 0.5. And that is when you have a fair walk or what you call a simple symmetric random walk. So let's look at some applications. So random walk in physics. For physics, when we talk about physics, we talk about Brownian motion. Particles suspended in a fluid move randomly due to collisions. I mean, this also happens in chemistry when you're talking about chemical reaction. You have all the particles just moving like that, in random motion. So the mathematical model is that xn is summation from I equals 1 to n of psi I, where each step psi I belongs to either -1 or +1. It goes either right or left. So the key insight here is that distance grows with the standard deviation with the square root of n. This explains diffusion, molecular motion, and heat transfer. Okay, so you see all of that in physics and in more specific areas like chemistry and all that, and engineering even. So talking about an example in physics now, a particle takes 1,000 random steps. So the expected value of x is 0, right? So 1,000 random steps, especially if you look at symmetric random walks. So the standard deviation is simply square root of 10,000, which is approximately 31.6. So the conclusion is that the particle typically lies within plus or minus 30 units from the origin. So we can simulate that here. And of course, each time we run that, so here we have n to be 1,000 here, and we just do the random thing for Brownian motion. So each time you run the code, it keeps changing. You can have some sessions to manage. You have to terminate previous ones, so terminate all those that we no longer are using. terminate other sessions. Good. And that goes. So we can work with this now. So this keeps changing like that. Okay, so as I keep running, it keeps shifting shape, and that is the idea of Brownian motion. That's what's happening in a chemical reaction or in heat transfer. Then we talk about random walk in gambling. So application of random walk in gambling, your money evolves randomly over time. Of course, I totally discourage gambling. I'm not a gambling type of person, right? But I mean, so your money evolves randomly over time. So in gambling, and that's why I talk about the gambler's ruin problem. So a gambler has a chance of losing everything. So if you start with X dollars and your goal is to reach an N amount of dollars, so you win plus one with probability P and you lose minus one with probability one minus P. Same setup as random walks, right? So if you look at the gambling example, so if you start with X, which is equal to 10, say you start with $10 and your goal is to reach $20. It's like you want to double your money. So the fair game will be with probability P equals 0.5. So probability of reaching N will be P equals X over N. That's 10 over 20, which is 0.5. So the probability of doubling your money is 0.5 based on all the data. And then, of course, we can set up a code for it here, which we have it at the gambler simulation. And the answer is like 0.49 something or 0.5 something something, something close to 0.5 in short. So that takes a bit of time and we run the code for the first time. So I'll wait patiently for that. It's taking too much time. Okay. I'll come back to it for sure. So yeah, we have 0.5075. I run it again. So the result will just be hovering around 0.5, just like the one we got up here. So but okay, I think one of the reasons why it's slow is because we are doing 10,000 steps, 10,000 trials. So that's a lot of steps right there. So the start is 10, the goal is 20, and the probability is 0.5. So money is the start is the money here, which is 10. Then while money is between 0 and the goal. So you keep doing the process until you reach your goal. So the estimated probability of winning will be that value we end up getting each time, which is very close to 0.5 that we already obtained here by computation. So yeah, we can so zero something you always get something close to 0.5 like that. So the first one was 0.49. Now this is 0.4986. The other time we have 0.50 something. Then we talk about random walk in finance. Random walk in finance. Stock prices can be modeled as S sub t plus 1 equals S sub t plus epsilon t. Now this epsilon t now is the element of randomness because a stochastic process is basically a system that evolves over time with uncertainty, or if you like, with randomness. So a stock price can be modeled as S sub t plus 1 equals ST plus epsilon t, or S sub t plus 1 equals ST e raised power epsilon t, where epsilon t is normally distributed with mean zero and variance sigma squared. So for a random walk hypothesis, now we see that stock prices are unpredictable in the short term. Okay, so in finance, if you stock starts at 100, each day you can multiply by 1.01 or 0.99, and you can then simulate this idea for 100 days. So with this setup now, N is 100, the price is 100. You want to do this for 100 days, and then for everything in for these N steps now, so you have random choices. So like there's no particular pattern. So you just you either multiply. So you start with this price today, multiply by 0.99. Tomorrow, whatever the price is, you multiply by 1.101, and then it just keeps going like that. And then by the time you run this, you get something like this. But because it is random, right? Each time you run, you get a different kind of walk, random walk for stock price. So it can keep changing like that because it's all stochastic. Then you can also have the log return model. So here now n is 100, the price is 100 again, the sigma is 0.02. I think sigma talks about the element of randomness we have in the system. Yeah, this sigma thing right here. So you have the log return model. So you run that. Is it done? Yeah, done. Then we can then visualize it right here. So we have the log return stock price, uh, log return model stock price simulation. So if you keep running, it keeps changing, shifting shape like that. So now we see comparison of applications now. So here now you see that in physics interpretation you have random walk in particle motion, and we see that the distance is variable is directly proportional to the square root of the number of steps. Then in gambling, you have the evolution of your money, and the key result is there's a risk of losing it all. Then in finance, that's why gambling is highly discouraged. Then in finance, and of course, there's also this thing that most people that gamble end up going back to zero. Like people that lost, even people that win a lot of money, they end up going back to zero. Because they don't have the mindset to manage the big money they have won, right? Then in finance, you have stock prices being very unpredictable. So, but of course, that's why there are also advanced mathematics, to help with maybe things like hedging to ensure that no matter what happens, you can always make profit. So we talk about drift, some advanced concepts. We talk about drift. If p is not equal to zero, then the expected value of xn is not equal to zero. I mean, we saw this already. If you have a simple random walk or a fair game, a fair walk, so in that case, p is 0.5, and in that case, the expected value of xn is always zero. The drift is zero. Then we have the idea of continuous limits. Random walk becomes Brownian motion, you know, along so at some point, if you keep going, then for central limit theorem, sum of steps approaches normal distribution with mean zero and standard deviation n, like that. So for the first time, we are simulating a 2D random walk, so and compute distance from origin. Okay, this is just to simulate it here now. So you have uh important okay, I mean, we have n steps and we do the 2D random walk thing now. So you have x and y. So if you as you keep running, it keeps shifting shape. It keep shifting shape. So we already saw how to computation of distance from the origin with the 3D random walk the other. Oh, okay, that was in the last video actually. Okay. Yeah. Or maybe I can do this now. So I can just instruct this now to compute the what's the second part? Compute distance from origin. So I just come here and say compute distance. I'll stop this from running. So I just say compute distance from origin, like that. So it takes a bit of time, and yeah, gives me that. So I just accept and then I run. So that's distance from origin for each step. Um, so I want to put, I want to put everything inside here so that everything can be together. So I'll put it right inside here. Yes. So now I just run this, then I get the two together. So, we have this in this case, and the final distance from origin is 42.5. I do this again. So because it's two-dimensional, right? I can also want to see the uh color coding. So I want to color code the distances. I mean, or the walks. So I say label and color code the two walks. Label and color code the two walks. Label and color code the two walks and show terminal points. Terminal points. So that's the kind of thing we saw for 3D random walk in the previous video, I think. So we can see the so this is such an elaborate one. So this can go now. Yeah, so I run this and then we have all that. Yeah, this is exactly what I was looking forward to. So here now, if I final distance from for from origin of for walk one, that's 85.91. For walk two, that's 34.06. So walk one is blue. So walk one is blue, and walk one ends at walk one is blue. and it ends with this green thing, and walk two is red and it ends with this black one like this. So we have all of that there. So that's how that goes. So as you keep running, it keeps changing like that. So, but that distance from origin is still missing, right? Oh, yeah. Compute distance from origin. Yeah, it's fine, I think. Yeah, so we have that. And in summary, we then see that random walks model uncertainty and growth is proportional to the square root of the number of steps, and individual parts are random, just like this is a very perfect definition of this. Individual parts are random. So as you keep run each time you simulate, you get different kinds of results. It keeps changing like that. So then long-term distribution is predictable, of course. So the more the so it's just like this central limit theorem or law of large numbers, right? So the more steps is taken are taken, the more predictable the system becomes. So we have some practice problems here. Um, so first, we have physics related stuff. Random walk or diffusion. A particle performs a 1D random walk with 400 steps. Compute the standard deviation of its position. I think that's just the square root of 400, right? For a fair random walk, find expectation of xn and variance of xn after n equals to 50 steps. So for a fair random walk, probability is 0.5. So expectation of xn is 0.5 and the variance of xn is simply n. So if you use 250 steps, it means that variance of xn is 250 because it's a fair random walk or a simple symmetric random walk. A particle takes 900 steps. What is the typical distance from the origin? The typical distance from the origin, I think that should be the standard deviation or so. That should be like square root of 900 or so. Show that the root mean square displacement is written for a fair walk. Okay. So simulate a 1D random walk with n is 500 and estimate the average final position over 100 trials. Yeah, you can look at previous examples to go about this. So for gambler's ring, we also have this kind of scenario previously. So we can use all those ideas. Then for finance and stock price, a stock price starts at S naught equals 100. After 50 steps of plus or minus 1%, estimate expected price. So 50 steps. So it can increase, it can you multiply by 0.99 or multiply by 1.01 like the other time. Then you can estimate the price in each case. Then show that log returns. These are normally distributed in the log normal model. Simulate 100 stock parts over 100 days and compute the average final price. So this will be very useful for stock people. So let me know how helpful this is for you. Try your hands on these questions. If there's anyone you try your hands on and you don't get it, feel free to let me know or tell me your answer in the comment section, and then I can take it up and maybe solve and show you the proper way of resolving the problem. All right. With this, I come to the end of this interesting video about random walk applications. And with this, I come to the end of random walks. Of course, we still have to make references to random walks in future videos under stochastic processes. But as far as random walks are concerned, this is like the end. And then as from the next video, we'll be looking at another aspect of stochastic processes. Let me know how helpful this is for you. And if there's something else you'd like me to try out, feel very free to let me know. If you have subscribed to this channel already, I thank you very much for doing that. If you haven't subscribed, why not go ahead right now? Hit the notification, subscribe, of course, and hit the notification bell so you can always get alerted each time a new video is released. Having done that, you can also become a member of this channel by clicking on join. That gives you special privileges like getting to see some videos first or being the only one to see certain videos. And afterwards, you could actually, you can ask for PDF copies of my notes. We can hang out together to discuss whatever interests you on my channel and all of that. So ultimately, don't forget to comment, like, share, so that more people can have access to the great content I have going on here. Till I come your way again, keep doing maths right. Bye.